there guys, gals, non-binary pals, GM Potter here. Welcome to my channel where I review books and bookish things. I upload on Thursdays and alternating Tuesdays with a couple of videos sprinkled in here and there. I also have started reviewing spicier content on my Patreon, which I will have linked down below and in a card at the back. So check that out. So today's book that we are reviewing is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. And oh my goodness, this book. Let's get into it. Okay, so starting off, this book came out in 2023. It has a 4.16 on Goodreads. I would say that that is a fair rating. It's honestly 4 stars. It could be better in a lot of ways, but not in ways that were detrimental to the storytelling. So this is Ali Hazelwood. You may remember The Love Hypothesis. This is the book that made me sign up for Book of the Month Club. Anytime I review those, it is my own opinion. I purchase those with my own books. But she wrote The Love Hypothesis. And this one takes a... She says in the back, in the author acknowledgments, that this is her most academic work. And I would very much agree with that. It explores a rift in academia that I didn't even know about. Between physicists, between theoretical and experimental physicists. Apparently while they collaborate with each other and they work with each other from time to time, they do not get along necessarily in the world of academia, which I was completely unaware of. I have physicists in my life. I think she's an experimental physicist. But yeah, it's very interesting that it gets into that. And who would have thought that the rivalry between theoretical and experimental physicists would be a perfect playground for romance. Well, in this book, certainly explores that. And when I read the back, when I read the blurb on the back of the book, I thought it was going to be another fake dating trope, and I was like, we already did that, but I do love a good fake dating trope, so yeah, I'll give it a shot. And I really enjoyed Love Hypothesis, so we'll do Love Theoretically. I'll give it a shot, and we'll see how it goes. This is not a fake dating trope. This is a very, very spicy enemies to friends to lovers trope. Yeah, this is like full body blush inducing spicy. Once it gets going, it is very spicy. Like full body blush spicy. Like, I was reading this at work and I'm like, I should not be reading this at work. I hope no one can read my mind right now because, oh my god. Luckily, no one cares what I'm reading at work. I read this as a physical book, so I was reading it on my lunch break. So people could see what I was reading, unlike when I listen to my audiobooks. I have an earphone in, and no one can tell what I'm listening to. So I was a little bit afraid that someone else might be like, oh, so-and-so's reading that book. I should pick it up and read it. And then they read it, and they're like, oh, they're a deviant. And so it was a little bit of that. But it starts off with the premise of fake dating. Elsie is our theoretical physicist. She's a theoretical physicist, and she is an adjunct professor, which, if you know anything about academia, and this part I did know, adjuncts do not make money the way tenured and like other degrees of professoring do. Adjunct is like the bottom layer of professoring. She works at 2 different colleges in Boston. Her dream is to work for MIT and to get to develop her research models. She's doing things with liquid crystals, and it's actually really cool. I don't want to say the science part is dumbed down, but it's explained in a very casual way that a dummy like me could understand it. Like, I love science. Science is really cool. I just never really grokked it. Like, it never really stuck in my brain growing up. I was much more of a history and a math nerd, which a lot of people say if you get math, you get science. I get the math part of science really well. I can balance an equation in my sleep. Like that's math, that's easy. But like wavelengths and like that, I don't know. I could do experiments involving measuring in chemicals and things because that's just cooking. Like I'm a good cook. I choose not to most of the time, but I'm actually a pretty good cook. But she is an adjunct professor by day, and also by day she is on this app called Faux, where it's fake dating. It's like an escort service, but there is no touchy feely-ness going on. It's very much hiring someone to make appearances with you. Like, oh, my cousin's wedding is coming up, and I'm going to be the only one without a date. Get on the app, hire someone to be my fake girlfriend to go on this date with me, so I'm not alone. And that's what she does. And she has a client that you're not supposed to take repeat clients on the app, but she kind of broke the rule for this one client because she likes him. She wants to be actual friends with him. And he's got this brother who's like seemingly suspicious of her and like stares at her and like asks a bunch of questions about her and a bunch of questions about his brother, being like, so you know about this, and like all this other stuff. And she's like, okay, fine. She has this run-in with him at the party. They play Go and they tie. Like, I used to play Go in college. I was terrible at it. It's like chess on hard mode. And I can attest that it's very big in the engineering and physics world because those were the people I hung out with in college. I was an accounting major with a focus on internal auditing, but I fell in with the physics and engineering crowd somehow. And yeah. Anyway, I used to play Go. I was never very good at it. I think in 4 years I won 3 games. And I used to go to Go Club meetings and, like, play. And, like, I enjoyed the game. It was fun. It was interesting. It was challenging. I just wasn't good at it. So, anyway, they play Go and they tie. And neither one of them has ever not won in years. And they tied. And I was like, ooh, oh no. And she has this whirlwind weekend of interviews and teaching presentations and all sorts of things for this dream job at MIT because there's this position opening up. And she would finally get to not adjunct, and her mentor advisor is telling her not to take it, that you already have a job, you're adjuncting, you're young, this is what you should be doing, blah, blah, blah. And she kind of goes behind his back and goes after this position. And they're like, oh yeah, we're just waiting on this one guy to show up, and he's kind of infamous in the theoretical physics world because he wrote this paper that got published about how theoretical physics is BS because you can just make stuff up and experimental physics is where it's at. Like, he widened the gap between theoretical and experimental physicists. And he shows up, and who is it but Jack Smith? Jack Smith Turner, actually, because he took his birth mom's last name and hyphenated. And he like, they sneak aside, and he's like, you, and it's just, I love it. It was so good. And he's like, you're never going to get this position, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, just watch me. I'm the best fit for the job. Well, mild spoiler. She doesn't get the position because it was actually already promised to someone else. The interviews were done in bad faith. She was a great candidate. They all loved her. Had they had a second position open, she would have gotten that. But they had already promised this other position to someone with more experience who was, through no fault of her own, an experimental physicist. And he's like, I don't hate you. I'm actually, like, infatuated with you, and I can't get you out of my mind. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're hot. I guess we could go out. Like, and from there it gets very spicy. Like I said, full body blush spicy. It does explore the misogyny and ethics that is rampant in academia, and the reason it gets 4 stars instead of 5 is, unlike in The Love Hypothesis, which explores this, I was expecting, since this is a later book, that we would explore this some more, and I wanted more on on the backstory of why Jack Smith Turner wrote the article and why her advisor is seemingly sabotaging her and like all this, that, and the other. Like, I wanted more of the nitty gritty world building drama. Like, I wanted more drama. Like, the spice was good. I liked the spice level. Keep the spice level, just take the drama and raise it to the spice level. And then I would have been very happy and it would have gotten 5 stars. So, this book, like I said, it's got a pretty good review, and I think it's a very accurate review. Read this, maybe don't read it at work, like I did. But definitely read this if you like your romance on the spicier side with a little bit of intellectual drama. But yeah, have you read Love Theoretically? Have you read anything else by Ali Hazelwood? What did you think? I'm dying to know. I keep bumping my chin against the mic, and I'm so sorry. I'll do my best to edit that out. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. And if you want more in-depth spicy content, check out my Patreon, which I will have linked below. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.